So Brian, what we're looking at is a life of incredible change for most people. This is Brian. He is the wife of Josie, who was interviewed in one of our other videos. Brian, not many people would have been willing to take on responsibility of, how many is it, 9 children?
Yeah, she has 9 children.
It's 9 children.
9 children and 1 granddaughter.
So I'm having to assume that there was a great bond, a great connection between you and Josie in order for that to happen.
Well, yeah. When we first met each other on the internet.
Right.
Looking on the internet for maybe 3 or 4 months before I come across Josie. And then
You connected with her.
yeah, and from the first day I see Josie on the internet, and I spoke to her. I think we spoke for about 2 hours, and I just knew.
And you just knew.
She was not like the other ones on the internet, what they're like, and it's easy to see through people on the internet at times.
I
You
think
see
so.
different personalities,
Yeah.
and you can take a judgment by someone within a couple of hours, but not saying you're going to be correct, but as it turned out, she's a nice person. She's a good person. She would never do anything wrong by you. She'd stick by you, and that's all I need in my life. Someone like that.
Yeah.
Instead of having a Filipino, which is serves so many, but all they want is your money. But Josie, the money is nothing. Even if I had nothing, she'd still be doing exactly the same as what I'm doing now.
Right. So
She'd be caring for me. She
yeah.
cares.
You are an Australian,
Yeah.
and
I'm from
you have
Australia.
led a life, from what I know you now, you've led a life that many men would have just dreamed of living. You've travelled all over the world, backpacking, haven't you? That's been...
Most of the world, not all the world, but I've been around quite a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been to
In South Africa, Ireland, England, all through Europe, Afghanistan.
now Afghanistan. That must have been
Turkey.
interesting, because you wouldn't be able to do that now.
No, Afghanistan, it's all off limits now, you can't do that. Where else I've been? Yugoslavia, Hungary, France, India. I haven't travelled all of Australia, but that was my plan originally. I was going to travel after I come back home from all my travels.
Right.
I've done Malaysia, most of Asia, I think. Vietnam, Cambodia, Nepal, India. Where else have I been? Malaysia.
How long
Indonesia.
How long did all this great adventure, which most people will be thinking,
How long did it
what
take?
an incredible adventure?
Well, it is. When I was younger, I was just thinking, I loved to travel, so I would travel, but I knew that if I ever got married, I wouldn't be able to travel like I did. So I made sure I travelled before I got married,
Right.
and made a mess of my life. Yeah,
So-
well, I basically travelled before I got married, so and after that, I got more mature. You've done what you wanted to do, and maybe it was time to settle down. So after
But true
that,
to say that you never really settled down, did you?
it's really hard to settle down after you travel so much. You have to find someone that wants to travel too, and you've got enough money to do it, which I did do. I travelled Southeast Asia with another woman that I lived with for 10 years.
Right.
And yeah, she used to like travel too, so we had a good time. We backpacked all through Southeast
So-
Asia.
Backpacking, you do almost by definition, you do without a great deal of money, yes?
Well, we set a budget when we left. We set a budget. We tried to plan how much it was going to cost per day, and said, well, we're going for 6 months, or whatever. It was about 12 months we planned for. and we estimated at that time it's going to cost us $40 a day. So we bought our tickets and then we put in the money in the bank, and for each $40 we put in half each, and then we just lived on that. And we took a record of what we spent every day, so we knew how our money was going.
Right.
So we knew we could just keep doing it at the time when we wanted to do it.
And did you have any inconsequential things like health insurance? Or?
Oh no, we like to live dangerously. Well, as it turned out, she did get sick near the end, but we were on our way home. That was in Singapore.
So you were able to get back to
on a plane and come home.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's easy to do if you have the money behind it. You can, if you get sick, you can come home. You know.
So that's a form of insurance, isn't it?
Well, yeah, we got some money. But even the first time when I travelled, before I travelled, I left Australia, I had a return ticket. I could return any time I wanted to. So
Right.
it's as good as insurance in one sense, but unless you're hospitalised, of course. But you know, how many
You have to
people have
believe.
insurance?
You have to believe that that's not.
When you're young, you never get sick. Nothing's ever going to happen to you when you're young, so you don't need insurance.
Nothing ever happened to me.
No. Only when it happens, it happens.
So, can we just pan and see the house that's under?
Work under progress.
So this is a work in progress. This is Brian and Josie's house. Couldn't be done in many other places except the Asian countries where you can move and you can. It's a benign, easygoing climate. It's an easygoing place to be. It's no hardship to live in half-completed houses. I live in a half-complete house. Brian's doing that. He's expecting to have other work. You can see that there are lots of children around everywhere. That's the kind of situation that is here most of the time. And I think your finger is covering the camera, honey. Is it? Yes. Yes. So, whatever you may have seen over the finger there, I'm not sure. But anyway, so what's the plan right now, Brian?
The plan is just bit by bit, when we have a little bit of money left over, we just do a little bit more. And when it happens, it happens.
Right, so you're living as I do, on a pension right now.
Yeah, we live on an Australian pension.
Right.
And we live comfortably.
Right.
If we weren't building a house, trying to finish this, we'd be living quite comfortably.
Right.
We had a problem.
So like
building-
Beth and I, it's not a huge amount of money, but
No.
if you've never lived in 5-star accommodation, then it's not a great deprivation, is it, to be living in an incomplete house, but happy.
Well, in most countries, like foreign countries, they live in a nice house, everything's perfect, blah, 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 they go to work, they come home. Here, we don't go to work, we have a roof over our head, we have enough food to eat, week by week. I don't go out, I don't drink, I smoke too much. But what else do I need? I have Josie, she cares for me, and well, you can see we have here. We have so many chooks, we have so many turkeys, we've got a pig down there.
So we've got hens, turkeys, wherever you go, there's roosters. Nuts.
Down there, we grow all our vegetables, which Filipinos, they're all Filipinos. I don't know our family, they love vegetables.
Right.
I eat so many vegetables from here, so really we don't buy vegetables. We buy a little bit of meat until we chop a pig.
So you're actually quite a competent gardener. You used to do.
I used to be.
You used to earn your living that way, didn't you?
Well, yeah, I have grown fruit and veggies, things like that before. When I was in Australia and in the married, normal life. But I've always lived on really large blocks of land, so I was able to do that, you know.
So you, like our friend Philip, you bought a piece of land in a relatively isolated place, away from lots of people. It's several acres, wasn't it?
In Australia?
In Australia.
Yeah, my second, I tell right out. My first house we bought was just a house on 1 acre, which we didn't keep too long, but we made a fair bit of money on that house, which enabled us to go to the next one where we bought a house. We bought a block of land, 5 acres. We built the house there. So I had 5 acres, and then after we sold the 5 acres with the house, we were there probably 3 years. I bought 30 acres.
Right.
Built another house there. And from the 5 acres to the 30, we've always had land where we can grow vegetables and things like this.
So you've never
before we had a house, we used to rent our house. We always had enough land, you know.
Yeah.
We could grow vegetables.
But for most people, you are far from the stereotypical 9-to-5 worker.
Well, yeah, that's enough, because I've always worked for myself, basically. Most of my life I worked for myself as a painter and landscaper, and I like the outdoor type of work. Whether I don't know if I wouldn't classify myself as a stereo, but I think I'm far from being a stereo to most Australians. I'm different. Maybe I'm I don't know.
Well,
I like to be alone. I don't like.
yeah, but by
I don't like to
definition,
have a
you
lot of
are an
friends.
adventurer.
Well, yes, but I can enjoy my own company. But I don't need.
Right.
I didn't come to the Philippines to meet Australians or anyone else. I come here because I wanted to have a peaceful life.
Right.
And this is why.
See, because lots of foreigners, lots of expats, seem to club together, don't they?
Well, that's right. A lot of people have different values why they come to the Philippines. A lot of people come here for different reasons, good or bad, I don't know. But then they can't let go of their own heritage, and they have to have the same people around them all the time, you know. And then they get into a pattern where they're not really happy here, because all they want to do is bitch about everything. I don't want to listen to that so much.
No.
You're the same, you know.
I'm the same.
You're like, okay, sometimes things get to you, which is going to happen in Australia, it's going to happen anywhere you go.
Yeah.
But you can live, you can work through it, and you have to stop and think, oh, why am I here? You're here because it's a peaceful way of life, no pressure. Tomorrow never comes, which means nothing ever gets done. This is the Philippine way.
That would be one of the complaints, wouldn't it?
Well,
That
it
it's
can be
difficult.
frustrating.
Yeah, it's difficult to live in your own way and yet be part of the Philippine culture.
Yeah, probably one of the hardest things, because I'm a doer, and here you can see I like to have things in their place. But as you can see, it's so neat and tidy here. But this is one of the reasons why you live here, because there's no pressure.
Well, not.
It gets back to what I just said, you know.
Well, I always think that Filipinos, like the American comedian George Carlin used to say, don't sweat the small stuff. And Filipinos don't, almost to a fault, sweat the small stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
In fact, sometimes it seems like nothing really matters.
Over the top. It's always the over the top. Why don't?
Yes.
Because, like I said, tomorrow never comes. But it's different here, because it's different to Australia, or other foreign countries. If you're there, you need to have a job. You need to have money coming in.
Yes.
Here, you don't need money coming in. For some reason, Filipinos seem to be able to live without money. I don't know how they do it.
No.
They can, not all. Some Filipinos have a lot of money, don't get me wrong. But you can live here for a
Well,
week
they
or
don't-
2 weeks
They don't panic if,
with a few dollars in your
Yeah.
pocket, and that's it.
yeah, they don't, Filipinos do not panic if they don't have any money right now. Whereas, even a foreigner who is even broke actually has some money.
That's right.
Isn't it? In fact, in America, in I think in the UK, it's against the law to have no money. Did you know that? But it's actually against the law. You have to be able to, I don't know, get a bus somewhere or take a train, or you have to have some money. If you have nothing, then aren't you called destitute? Aren't you?
Well, yeah.
You know,
But
that-
you know, well, in Australia, people say I'm broke, and then you know they might have $10 in their pocket.
Yeah.
$10 to a Filipino, in some cases, it can be a lot of money.
Yes,
They can live on the $10 for maybe 3 or 4 weeks,
that's right.
maybe longer.
As long as they have rice. But the thing is, this in itself sounds like a criticism, but actually they've learned to just not be stressed about everything in the same way that a foreigner would be. In fact, I always think that in somewhere like America or the UK, which isn't my main experience, people will forgive you anything. Any crime can be forgiven, but not having money is something
Well, you just don't.
no one
You
will
can't
allow
wait.
you to have.
You can't allow yourself not to have any money. It's a simple fact in the Western countries. You can't just not have any money. You have to have
Right.
it. You know, 2 weeks ago, she gave me 50p, which amounts to a little over $1.
50 pesos.
2 weeks ago. Today I spent the last 20. I've had 50p.
So you've squandered your way
2
through
weeks,
30
$1.
pesos.
I've been here for 2 weeks and I only spent 50 cents Australian in 2 weeks.
But then you've always been bad with money.
Yeah, yeah. But I didn't need to spend it because what am I going to spend it on? We shop every 2 weeks. We have food. See, we have vegetables. We have chicken if we want a chicken. If we're hungry, we can make a chicken. Turkey, and a pig. I buy enough cigarettes to last me for 2 weeks.
So and you live quite close to the school, so
And I
children-
didn't even spend. I didn't even spend that 30p. I gave it to the children.
but you don't need to pay for the kids to go to school because they just walk.
Yeah,
What,
we do.
it's not even a quarter of a mile, is it? But yeah. 10 pesos.
10
so
peso a day each to go to school, which goes to the teachers. I hope that they buy paper with it. That's what it's for, so they can do their work.
that's what they do there.
Well,
is it?
I think so.
Yeah. Probably may even buy their lunch.
Oh yeah, they probably get a
You'll
bit
never know.
nice lunch with the rest of it. I don't know, but you know, who's going to be sweating about 10p each? The
Those
worst
are-
part is they're never there to teach you. Gets in.
Well,
Makes me
that's another point, isn't
That's
it?
another
The schooling system of what they call public schools, yes, Beth?
Yeah.
Public schools is a lot more, shall we say, laid back than it is in other countries.
But if you send them to a private school, they get a good education. They're taught, and they stay at school every day, and they're taught every day. And
So
you know,
they insist that they're there for
well,
every day.
that's because they're a private school, they teach them correctly. But the public schools in the Filipina, it's just a joke, really. In our terms, it's a joke, and it gets a bit frustrating for me when I want to see the children learn and get ahead. Yeah?
Yeah.
Well,
So actually, the number of children that you have at home is how many at home?
oh, here? There's 6 here.
You've got 6 children here.
6 here and there's 3. Well, we live on an island of Bohol, called Bohol, which is about 20 kilometres, I think, maybe by boat across to the mainland.
Which is Cebu.
Yeah, in Cebu. And in Cebu there's 3 other boys, or 2 boys and another boy with the wife.
And they're in college.
No, once, well, they're both, the 2 of the boys doing university. One's studying to be a policeman, the other one's studying to be an electrical engineer, the other one's married and looking for employment. He was working before his contract finished. And he has a daughter, so his wife and daughter, they all live together in the one little place there.
Right. So the idea, never covered this before in any of our videos, but here it's very similar to the way that in America they can deny someone benefits if they only work a certain number of hours. Well, in the Philippines they'll work the full day, full week, the full months, but they'll only do it for a certain amount of time which falls short of the time that they would have to be employed if they were to receive the bonuses that they're entitled to. So I think it's maybe 9 months, isn't it?
I'm not sure. They give them a contract, I think, don't they? They give them a contract, maybe for 2 months' work. So, unlike the Western countries, you get employed and then if you're terminated, you go to the government, they give you a benefit.
Right.
Here they just give you, no, they just get a contract and then after that, they're not liable for anything.
They're not liable. So being contracted is a way for the employer to get out of any further responsibility. So literally, you'll sign a contract for a length of time which everybody knows is really illegal, morally illegal, so that you don't have to pay the benefits. So at the end of that contract, you'll finish, and then you may be offered another contract, and the same scam starts all over again. So that's one of the unfortunate things about employment here in the Philippines.
And if you have a bad boss, maybe he won't even pay you after the month because he's got no money to pay you. So you work for a month for nothing.
Yeah, but this is not.
That.
This is not even unusual in the Philippines, is it? Because Filipinos, it seems, are used and abused in several other countries, Kuwait being one of them, Abu Dhabi, where especially the women can suffer greatly. This is something that probably will change. We would hope so. But right now, Brian, thanks very much for talking to us, and we will no doubt be seeing you again.
Well, if I'm not on the wrong side of the grass, I'll be here.
Well, we'll hope that you're not on the wrong side of the grass.
Yeah,
so,
you never know, do you?
No, we never know.
But I don't think it'll be stress that kills me.
Okay, well that's all from me, a foreigner living in the Philippines, and we'll talk again soon. Bye for now. Don't forget to like, comment, or share, and subscribe. Bye for now.